Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Rayhan Dhaifullah, and this is my family tree. First of all, I want to apologize for the lack of photos. My family asked me to not show their pictures because they do not want their faces to be shown. And then my I don't really have my other family's picture. Like, I don't have my uncle's picture, my grandfather's picture, because I don't know them really well. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys what I know about them. I'm gonna start with my grandfather. His name is Abu Effendi. He was born in 1926, 1st of June. He was a soldier. He fought in the war in 1945. And after the war, he laid rest and started a family. He married my grandmother, Nettie. My grandmother was born in 1936 uh, in, in Sulawesi. Uh, but my grandfather is from Yogyakarta. So I think they met in Jakarta. And then they had their firstborn, which is Stella, my aunt. And then my uncle, secondborn, Gino. And then my father, Reza, Triardi Reza Effendi. And then Aunt Stella was the firstborn. I don't know when was she was born, but she lives in Papua now, and she married my uncle Alex, which is a Papuan, and they had 4 children. The firstborn was Keisha, secondborn was Kenan, thirdborn was Jojo, and the last one was Merani. And then Uncle Gino was married to I don't know the name of his wife. I rarely met them, but they had 2 children. I met them twice or 3 times maybe. Their name was Richard and Audrey. Richard was the firstborn and Audrey was the secondborn. And then my father, the thirdborn or the last child, I think. He married my mother in college. They met in 1991, University of Indonesia. My father was in Dutch literature and my mother was in Japanese literature in Fakultas Ilmu Budaya. They had me and my sister. My sister was the firstborn and I was the secondborn. Now I'm gonna tell you guys about my mother's side of the family. Start with my grandfather, and he was also born in 1926, just like Abu Effendi. His name is Hussein Abdullah. Uh, he was a soldier too, but he was a rebel, a resistance commander. He was the commander of the PRRI, I think. The they they don't they didn't acknowledge Indonesia at that time, and they want to build their own country in Western Sumatra. But then my grandfather grew tired of it and just left and went to marry. And then he married my grandmother, Rushida Hussein. And then they had 3 children. The firstborn was Dewi Hussein, my aunt. She's living in Houston, Texas now. I don't really get to meet her often. And then my uncle Harry, he's in Bukit Tinggi now. Oh yeah, my mother's whole family is from Bukit Tinggi. They're Minangese, and they speak fluent unlike my father, he can't speak any Japanese or I don't know what the Sulawesi language is. And so yeah, my uncle Harry is now living in Bukit Tinggi. He sells durian and owns a Padang restaurant. And then my mother, who I told you before, met my father in University of Indonesia. And then they had us. My sister is now working as a graphic designer in a company. And me, the most handsome grandson. And that is all for my family, I think. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.